Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Novel Network. Wuxia. I am the Land Immortal. After leaving the level Yi Ran traveled through the world of comprehensive martial arts and became Senior Brother Zhang Sanfeng. Later, he awakened his cultivation system, but only obtained one cultivation technique. He was also required by his father to stay in seclusion for 100 years and break through the Golden Elixir realm. 60 years later, just before Yi Ran broke through the Golden Pill, countless martial arts sects actually forced Wudang to demand that Wudang disciple Zhang Cuishan reveal the whereabouts of the Golden Lion King Xun.Extinction Ant. Zhang Cuishan, if you don't reveal the whereabouts of Xie Motou, don't think about kindness today. Shaolin Kongwen said, Almsgiver Zhang, we just need a message to eliminate demons. Don't be persistent. Xuanming Er Lao said, if you don't mention Zhang Cuishan, your son Wuji's name won't be preserved. Wudang Sect *** was extremely angry. Zhang Sanfeng wanted to take action, but was restrained by 4 innate experts from Shaolin. At this moment, the sky was filled with countless auspicious clouds, and dragons and phoenixes danced. Yi Ran has passed the level. As soon as you leave the level, you will become a Land Immortal, an old demon and monster realm, and defeat countless experts. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Threatening Wudang, new book seeks everything. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On Wudang Mountain. Countless martial arts masters stood outside the Jinwu Hall, shouting loudly, demanding that Zhang Cuishan hand over the whereabouts of the Golden Lion King Xie. Let Zhang Cuishan hand over Xie's whereabouts. In front of the Wudang Jinwu Hall, the Extinction Abbess sword points to Wudang disciples. That's right, hand over Xie's whereabouts. Give justice to the martial arts world. Beside Extinction, countless people roar and shout. Inside the Jinwu Hall, Wudang Sect disciples glared angrily at the various sect masters shouting in front of the hall. They were extremely angry, but couldn't act impulsively because today is Zhang Sanfeng's 100th birthday. Master, please hand us over. Wudang Mountain cannot be affected by us. Zhang Cuishan didn't want to say Xie's whereabouts, but also didn't want to implicate Wudang Mountain. Fifth brother, don't panic. Our brothers can work together to set up the true martial arts 7-cut formation to resolve this matter. Song Yuanxiao stood in front of a group of Wudang disciples, speaking angrily to the major sections. Today is my master's centenary birthday. Even if there is anything, please wait until the birthday is over before discussing it. No way. Who knows where Zhang Cuishan will be hidden by you after his birthday is over. Let him reveal Xie's whereabouts now. He Taichung of the Kongtong sect showed disdain with a slanted eye and showed no concern for the so-called birthday of Zhang Sanfeng. Ba Buddha, I also have the same idea. If benefactor Zhang Cuishan has no shame in his heart, why not immediately reveal the whereabouts of the demon Xie? We are just seeking an opportunity to eliminate the demon. The head of Shaolin, upon hearing the appearance of a high monk, lowered his eyebrows and harbored sentient beings in his heart. Humph, don't pretend to be passionate and righteous, Zhang Cuishan. 10 years ago, you also slaughtered the entire Longmen escort agency. It's a big demon. A Shaolin monk spoke up. Nonsense. How could my fifth brother become a demon and destroy everyone? The 7 heroes of Wudang were furious. Zhang Cuishan quickly said, I have no knowledge about the Longmen escort agency, it was not me who did it. The greatly besieged sect snorted coldly, the scars on the corpse were caused by your commonly used weapons, and you still don't admit it. Zhang Cuishan explained, scars can be forged. A group of sects immediately spoke out disdainfully, excuse yourself. I advise you to quickly hand over the whereabouts of the demon head Xie, otherwise don't blame us for being impolite. Upon hearing these words, everyone in Wudang was furious. These people were throwing the face of their Wudang Sect on the ground and trampling it hard. Chong! 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 Wudang drew their swords up and down and unsheathed them. Seeing a joyful birthday turn into a bloody battle, a burst of anger erupted in the Zhenwu Hall. Enough! Are you really trying to bully me at Wudang Mountain Gate? Zhang Sanfeng, dressed in a Taoist robe and possessing a fairy-like demeanor, walked out of the Zhenwu Hall with a face full of anger. Zhang Jinren, we naturally dare not oppose you, but we must ask the truth about this matter today. The tone of the Xun.Extinction nun was calm, although she appeared to respect Zhang Sanfeng on the surface, she didn't actually agree. Zhang Jinren, our Buddhist sect is not unreasonable either. It's just that the matter of Xie Sun is closely related and we have no choice but to do it. Please forgive me. Buddhism has heard of the presence of the old god and has no reverence for the so-called Wudang Zhang Jinren. Zhang Sanfeng's eyebrows moved, his face expressionless, and he looked coldly at the martial arts masters in front of him. I have created Tai Chi, and my strength has gone even further. Today, let's try the aura of today's martial arts masters. Zhang Sanfeng's sleeve robe swayed, his true energy surged, and his master's authority began to show. A group of martial arts masters were afraid in their hearts. Grandmaster Zhang Sanfeng had become famous for many years and was considered a living fossil of martial arts. Although he was 100 years old, his strength did not retreat but instead advanced, which was truly mysterious and unpredictable. Ha, Zhang Jinren has such great courage. It's not in vain for our senior brothers to have a chance. Four eminent monks in golden robes and cassocks rushed out of the dark, and their body surfaces turned golden, just like the Arhat gods. They were very powerful. He is a hidden innate powerhouse of Shaolin. Isn't it true that they no longer care about worldly affairs? Why is it appearing in Wudang now? Someone looked at Shaolin Kongwen, but he was still there, his eyebrows lowered. Zhang Jinren, how about it? Or do you ask your disciples to reveal Xie Sun's whereabouts, so that Jin doesn't take action and ruin your birthday, said a Shaolin disciple, Xiao Zhang. Zhang Sanfeng's face darkened to the extreme. Okay, it's really good. If it weren't for my senior brother's constant seclusion, how would you dare to come here and be arrogant? Zhang Sanfeng's senior brother. Outside the Zhenwu Hall, both martial arts experts and Wudang disciples are puzzled. Does Zhang Sanfeng have another senior brother? One of the innate experts in Shaolin disdained, Zhang Sanfeng, your senior brother Yi Ran has been locked down for 60 years. I'm afraid he might have died long ago. Even if you move out, he won't scare us. Upon hearing the conversation between Zhang Sanfeng and the innate experts of Shaolin, some older martial arts experts remembered that 60 years ago, Wudang had a so-called strongest innate strength. At that time, the number of people in Wudang was sparse, and even Zhang Sanfeng was only slightly powerful, not extremely strong. Therefore, Wudang was bullied by major sects such as Shaolin. Later, an invincible master emerged, and he hanged all sides, laying the foundation of Wudang's major sections. Can the 4 Shaolin sects naturally make me shrink back? It's a battle. Zhang Sanfeng's face was slightly angry, and behind him, there was a faint round of Tai Chi yin-yang fish appearing, with a majestic aura. Master, don't be like this. One person should handle things one by one. This matter arises from me, and I will settle it on my own and explain it to the world. After Zhang Cuishan finished speaking, he drew his long sword and crossed his neck, about to commit suicide. Fifth brother. Song Yuanxiao and others showed their eyes as if to crack. At this moment, a sudden burst of divine light erupted from the back mountain of Wudang, soaring into the sky like an immortal god. Chapter 2. Land Immortals, new book seeks everything. You are listening at novel full.audio. Wudang Back Mountain. In a sealed stone chamber. Countless spiritual energy floated in the air like hazy water droplets, and within the spiritual energy, a white figure sat in the center of the stone chamber. Underneath the figure was a pitch-black stone the size of a coffin. If others see it, they will surely exclaim. Jiutian Meteorite Iron Stone. The 9 Heavens Meteorite Iron Stone is a rare treasure in this world, and swords made from this stone are unparalleled in the world. The divine heavenly sword and dragon-slaying saber, which are passed down in the martial arts world, are made from these things. But if the people sitting in the center of the stone chamber hear their inner thoughts, they will definitely sneer. Make a sword. A loser. Extremely despicable. This is clearly the cornerstone of superior enlightenment. Sitting on it can lead to 1,000 miles of cultivation in a day, isn't it more fragrant than making swords? In the center of the stone chamber, Ye Ran suddenly opened his eyes and scanned towards the direction of the Zhenwu Hall through the thick stone wall. After 60 years of seclusion, Ye Ran's divine consciousness was so strong that it could directly cover the entire Wudang Mountain, up and down, and even a mosquito could not escape his inspection. 60 years have passed, and Wudang Mountain has become this stubborn place. Does Zhang Sanfeng eat dry rice? Ye Ran felt a little angry, and then he used his divine sense to sweep over the 4 innate bald donkeys in the Zhenwu Hall, chuckling coldly. Ha, I haven't been out of the mountain for 60 years, so these people don't remember me anymore. It seems that there weren't enough innate experts killed back then. After speaking, Ye Ran's breath condensed all over his body, and his whole body turned into a vortex, forcefully sucking up the rich spiritual energy in the stone chamber that was as strong as water. Spiritual energy is like a river, and a fierce sun pierces into Ye Ran's body, wandering through his thick meridians like a highway. After the spiritual energy surged, Ye Ran silently recited the Taoist scriptures gifted by the system. Heaven and earth have no beginning, no yin or yang, hazy and chaotic, and the great way cannot be achieved. After a week of running, Ye Ran's whole body let out a roar, like lightning splitting through the air, like a river flowing back to the sea, endless noise, endless intensity. Thunder, purple lightning, clouds and mist, dragons soaring in the sky, phoenixes dancing in the 9 heavens within Ye Ran's dantian, a small golden pill gradually took shape, presenting countless strange phenomena that gradually took shape. There are 9 heavenly immortal kings, billions of flying swords, golden light in the sea, sun and moon inverted Jindan realm. After 60 years of seclusion, Ye Ran finally reached the Golden Elixir realm in this world of martial arts. In the current world, spiritual energy is not scarce, but it is also very limited. To cultivate in such a world, not to mention reaching the Golden Core realm, even building a foundation realm is extremely difficult. After Ye Ran successfully attacked the Golden Elixir realm, the trees and rocks around Wudang Mountain are trembling and trembling, buzzing and trembling. Countless auspicious clouds float in the sky. There is a faint hint of black clouds among them. Amidst the black clouds, thunder flickered as if about to bring down divine punishment. But not long after, it disappeared with a boom sound, as if it had never appeared before. Ye Ran in the Wudang stone chamber breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this can be considered a low martial world. Otherwise, a small golden elixir period would have to withstand thunderbolt calamity, and Ye Ran really couldn't bear it. In the sky, countless auspicious clouds shine on the back mountain of Wudang, with dragon energy rising in divine light soaring into the sky, and scattered spiritual lights constantly emerging. Ye Ran absorbed all these things one by one and then meditated for a moment. During the meditation, he recalled the scene he had first traveled through. Ye Ran is not from this world, he came through time and space. His predecessor was a programming ape on Blue Star who was crazily writing code. He died suddenly when he got up in the middle of the night. After crossing into this world, by chance, he merged and became a disciple of Shaolin, and even became Zhang Sanfeng's senior brother. With the memory of the world of Jin and Wu in previous lives, he got the Book of Changes and the 9 Yang Manual, 2 supreme skills, and became the youngest congenital expert in history. Later, he left Shaolin with Zhang Sanfeng and founded Wudang. After the establishment of Wudang, Yi Ran killed everyone in all directions, and everyone in the martial arts world was afraid. So much so that during his 60 years of seclusion, no one dared to provoke Wudang. The reason why Yi Ran remained secluded for 60 years was because he awakened the system. The cultivation system. After Yi Ran awakened his system, he was originally quite happy and eagerly waited for the system to give him something good, but in the end, he gave him the cultivation technique and nothing else. As the saying goes, starting with a Taoist scripture, one's cultivation relies entirely on practice and equipment relies entirely on combat. Even so, Yi Ran is not an insatiable person. He has a good cultivation technique and is satisfied. Unexpectedly, this broken system led to the release of the Pit Father mission, forcing him to stay in seclusion for 100 years and not be able to leave the level until he reached the Golden Core realm. Yi Ran remained silent and said to Zhang Sanfeng that after he wanted to practice in seclusion, he stayed in this sealed stone chamber for 60 years. Fortunately, Yi Ran had exceptional talent and arrived at the Golden Core realm in just 60 years. Otherwise, he would have to stay in this dilapidated place for another 40 years. Ha ha ha. I'm about to leave the level. Yi Ran laughed heartily, laughing like thunder, and the hard stone wall exploded into powder. With a smile that moves 100 miles, with a hum that startles 1,000 miles. With Yi Ran's current strength, he is almost immortal in this world. In the martial arts world, there are many names for people in his realm. There are immortals and old monsters. The most formal and orthodox statement is Land Immortals. Although they cannot ascend to immortality, they already possess the divine will of immortals. One fist can break the mountain, and one palm can divide the river. This is a true land deity. Chapter 3. The Power of Immortals and Gods, New Book Seeks Everything. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the sky of Wudang Mountain, countless clouds churn like dragons and phoenixes, and divine rainbow rushes into the sky like a fairy descending. Outside the Zhenwu Hall, everyone opened their mouths and looked at the strange phenomena in the sky, almost forgetting their environment for a moment. What is this? Did immortals emerge from Wudang Mountain? Perhaps a real dragon was born. A group of martial arts masters inexplicably had this idea in their hearts, and then shook their heads, feeling absurd. The four innate powerhouses of Shaolin also stared blankly at the sky, their faces full of shock. They are powerful, so they know the exaggeration of this anomaly. Even the peerless powerhouse of Shaolin who has been hiding in the Sutra Pavilion can only emit a 3-foot gas wall. And now, if these visions on Wudang Mountain were truly evolved from a warrior, it would be unimaginable. That is definitely a fairy-like character. In front of the Zhenwu Hall, there was chaos, and some people stared at the sky in confusion, unsure of how to respond. Mother. In front of the Zhenwu Grand Hall, a mournful child voice sounded. It's Wuji. Zhang Cuishan and Yin Susu were overjoyed in their hearts, and then quickly left the hall, searching for the sound and began to look for it. I want to escape. Where to go? Look at the sword. The Ame Extermination wielded his heavenly sword and unleashed countless true qi, fiercely attacking Zhang Cuishan and his wife. Zhang Cuishan and his wife were eager to find their son, completely unaware of the upcoming crisis. Fifth brother. My disciple. Zhang Sanfeng and the 7 warriors of Wudang were about to unleash their sword energy upon Zhang Cuishan and his wife when they saw the extinction, and they were going crazy. Extinct none. How dare you? Zhang Sanfeng's breath condensed all over his body, and his illusory yin and yang energy suddenly erupted, causing the fierce sword energy emitted by extinction to be one of them. Zhang Sanfeng seized the sword energy in the face of emptiness, crushed it, and then rushed towards extinction. Zhang Jinren's anger is too strong, let me help you extinguish the fire. 4 innate masters of Shaolin stood in front of extinction, blocking Zhang Sanfeng. Humph, I have also seen whether Shaolin has made progress in recent years. 5 innate experts fought together, their energy surging and their true energy spraying out. The sound had already spread 10 miles away. The bluestone floor was shattered and scattered, but the 4 innate Shaolin masters joined forces and only drew with Zhang Sanfeng. Zhang Sanfeng, after leaving Shaolin, your martial arts have really improved a lot, and you even have a hint of a master's aura. The innate master of Shaolin exclaimed. Stop talking nonsense. If you want to join forces against me, the 4 of you are not enough. Zhang Sanfeng's yin and yang qi behind him became stronger and stronger, and he became more and more adept at dealing with the 4 innate experts. Outside the Zhenwu Hall, Zhang Cuishan and his wife were anxious when they heard their son's voice. Where are you, Wuji? While the couple was looking around, Zhang Wuji was coerced out by 2 cold-blooded experts. The deer wand guest and the crane pen wang appeared in front of the Zhenwu Hall, suppressing Zhang Wuji. Zhang Cuishan, hand over the whereabouts of the Golden Lion King Xie Sun, and we will release your son. This can't be done. I can't betray Brother Xie's whereabouts. Zhang Cuishan was conflicted in his heart, but still couldn't let go. Humph, toasting, not eating, and punishing. The deer wand guest and the crane pen wang threw Zhang Wuji aside and attacked Zhang Cuishan and his wife. Although they are only top-notch experts, even if they are born strong together, they may not necessarily be able to win. Therefore, the danger faced by Zhang Cuishan and his wife is far greater than the sword energy just before the extinction. 5th Brother Xuanzhen's 7th son's eyes were about to crack, but there was no time to stop them. And Zhang Sanfeng, who was fighting against 4 innate masters, had his eyebrows and hair curled up, his voice was like thunder, and he was furious. Stop it. Zhang Sanfeng wanted to be rescued, but he was powerless in the face of the 4 innate beings. As Zhang Cuishan and his wife were about to die under the palm of the Xuanming god, a divine light flew from the back mountain of Wudang. Divine rainbow fills the sky, like a fairy god. Bang! The brilliant divine light blocked in front of Zhang Cuishan and his wife. In the divine light, there was a faint white figure. Although it was hard to see its appearance, one could still guess that the white figure was as divine as Jade, with extraordinary bravery. Are you causing trouble in Wudang Mountain? The white shadow is like a god, and a casual sentence can condense the thunderous thunder, the roaring of heaven and earth, and the swaying of thousands of trees. The deer wand guest and the crane pen wang stopped moving, their faces pale, their true energy flowing backwards, and blood faintly flowing out of their 7 orifices. Humph. After being snorted lightly, the 2 deer wand guests burst open and couldn't die anymore. Who else? Ye Ran dissipated his divine light, revealed his true face, and shouted at a group of martial arts masters outside the Zhenwu Hall. After this explosive drink, except for the Wudang Mountain Gate people, everyone else felt their true energy surging and their qi and blood unstable, as if they were about to explode at any moment. Even innate experts are the same. Zhang Sanfeng, who was fighting against the 4 innate masters of Shaolin, saw Ye Ran appear, his eyes blurred, and mist gradually rose. After swinging open one innate master with one palm, he rushed directly to Ye Ran's side. Senior Brother. Have you passed the level? Zhang Sanfeng looked at Ye Ran with emotion. Senior Brother, just like 60 years ago, is as rich and graceful as Jade, and time seems to have left no trace on him. On the other hand, he has already claimed to have an old face and gray hair. Well, I'm out of seclusion, this time I've gained a little. Ye Ran looked at Zhang Sanfeng with some relief. As a junior brother, I haven't put in any effort in these years, and my strength is close to that of a master. I only need 1 step to enter. If converted to the cultivation level, it would be about 7 or 8 floors of building a foundation, almost 1 step away from achieving perfection. This is really not easy. Being able to reach the 7th level of foundation building in a low martial world is definitely a natural talent. Although not comparable to Ye Ran, it can still be considered a rare genius in 1,000 years. Chapter 4. Sword of Heaven. Sword breaks, new book seeks everything. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Not bad, there's progress. I'll teach you 2 more things later, senior brother. Yi Ran patted Zhang Sanfeng's shoulder and smiled slightly. More senior brothers. Zhang Sanfeng smiled shyly, just like in his youth. Zhang Sanfeng asked Wudang disciples to come and pay their respects to Yi Ran as soon as possible. Hurry up and pay your respects, master. Wudang disciples stared blankly at Yi Ran, most of whom did not know that Wudang still had such a strong figure. Only some elderly disciples began to look excited. Goodbye, master. Yi Ran nodded and smiled, not bad, not bad. Although there are not many disciples of Wudang Mountain Gate, their bones are still good. Zhang Sanfeng pulled the Wudang 7 heroes to kneel and worship Yi Ran. Senior brother, these are my personally passed down disciples. Their character and talent are both very good. Hello, master. The 7 sons of Wudang looked at the legendary master and their hearts were stirred. Undoubtedly, he is the master who has been longing for him in his heart. His strength and demeanor are simply immortal. It's good, everything's good, Yi Ran smiled slightly, but his face became gloomy the next second. What's going on outside the Jinwu Grand Hall? My Wudang Mountain has been so bullied by people. The 7 heroes of Wudang remained silent. Zhang Sanfeng wanted to explain, but Zhang Cuishan took the lead in admitting his mistake. Master, it's all because of me at this moment, not my master or a few senior brothers. Zhang Cuishan said solemnly. Master, the 5th junior brother is just upholding morality and has no fault at all. If you punish us, then punish us. Senior brother Song Yuanxiao immediately stood up, protecting him. Yi Ran remained silent, only looking at the martial arts master outside the Jinwu Hall, Wu Yang. I had already sensed the situation when I was in seclusion on the back mountain. My disciple Zhang Cuishan insisted on his morality and refused to reveal Xie Sun's whereabouts, so you acted like this. Yi Ran's voice was deep and muffled, like thunder. The hearts of all the martial arts masters were pounded with a heavy hammer, as if someone had struck them fiercely. Yi Zhenren, this matter involves too much, and we have no choice but to do it. Please forgive me, Yi Zhenren. The Shaolin leader was frightened by Yi Ran when he heard a low sweat on his face. This person can perceive the situation in the Jinwu Hall from the back mountain of Wudang. His cultivation level is simple and straightforward, and he is not daring to provoke anyone. Yi Zhenren, please give me face in Shaolin. This matter can be considered as Shaolin's mistake. I will write a confession letter and swear to the world the next day. The 4 innate masters of Shaolin trembled slightly in their tone, bowing their heads to admit their mistake. They had vaguely guessed Yi Ran's level of strength, so their fear was far greater than that of ordinary people. Yi Ran laughed and said, do you still want to forgive me for bullying Wudang? If I go to your Shaolin to bully you, I will get your 70.2 unique skills. Can you forgive me? The people in Shaolin were speechless, and then quickly moved their steps lightly, ready to escape. Humph. Yi Ran's eyes sparkled and he let out a cold snort. The innate masters of Shaolin fell to the ground, their breath extinguished. The remaining Shaolin disciples vomited blood one after another, their meridians were broken, and they became useless. If you make a mistake, you must take responsibility. Hurry up and take away the 4 corpses of your Shaolin, they will be eye-catching. Kongwen's expression was dull, and he nodded silently without daring to refute. He led his men and carried the body away. Non-extermination, you were very arrogant just now. You wanted to kill my Wudang disciple. Yi Ran looked at extermination. Extinction almost scared my legs. Yi Zhenren, misunderstandings are all misunderstandings. There is still some connection between Ame and Wudang, how could it be like this? The cold sweat of extinction broke out, and he was almost scared into a quail. This Yi Zhenren was a killing god 60 years ago, but now that 60 years have passed, his killing nature has not changed at all, and his strength has become divine. He is an old monster. Your heavenly sword is pretty good, Ye Ran said slightly. Such a divine sword should naturally be paired with a strong person like Ye Zhenren. Without hesitation, he handed over the heavenly sword without hesitation. The Amei disciple lowered his head and frowned, looking sad. All right, if you cut off your own arm, you can leave. Ye Ran drew his heavenly sword and cursed inwardly as a waste. This kind of Wudao divine iron was unexpectedly refined into a sword. Waste, waste. After hesitating for a moment, Abbess Miak cut off her arm and thanked Ye Ran before taking her Amei disciples down the mountain. Ye Ran was playing with the heavenly sword, and the more he looked at it, the more regretful it became. After the 9 heavens dark iron was made into a sword, it no longer had the attributes of enlightenment, only remaining strong and sharp. But for Ye Ran, these two things are simply not attractive. Ye Ran gently touched the sword body, and then a pair of pure white hands directly pinched the heavenly sword from the waist. It's not very sturdy either, Ye Ran pursed his lips. The onlookers of martial arts masters and Wudang disciples opened their mouths wide, stunned. Claiming to be the sharpest and most sturdy heavenly sword in the world, did someone else crush it like this? Ye Ran, Ye Zhenren, what level has this person reached after being isolated for 60 years? Shouldn't they really become immortals, right? Everyone was inexplicably shocked, their eyes were about to burst out. Ye Ran broke open the sword and pulled out a thin parchment paper from inside. Senior Brother, it is rumored that there is a legend of the Supreme Being hidden in the dragon-slaying sword and the heaven-reliant sword. It should be this thin piece of paper. Zhang Sanfeng approached and looked at the parchment in Ye Ran's hand. Outside the Zhenwu Hall, a group of martial arts experts looked up, their eyes fixed on the parchment paper, their gaze burning. This is the ultimate secret of the martial arts world. These people are fighting and arguing for this thing, isn't it? But then these people all lowered their heads. Chapter 5. The Power of the World, National Ancestors and Teachers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They have no hope. This thing has fallen into the hands of the venerable immortal Wudang, and no one dares to touch it. Ye Ran smiles and unfolds the parchment, which is different from what Ye Ran remembers. It is not the 9 manual and the 18 dragon subduing palms, which are the best martial arts treasures, but a map. The map is crooked and cannot be seen where it points. Ye Ran didn't study carefully, put away the map, and then looked at a group of martial arts masters with both eyes. How do you want to understand the siege of Wudang today? Ye Ran asked. Misunderstandings, they are all misunderstandings. We are here to pay homage to Zhang Zhenren, definitely not to besiege Wudang. Ye Zhenren, I'm not with those bald donkeys and nuns at all. It's just a birthday celebration, there's no other meaning. Heaven and earth can tell, and we absolutely respect Wudang. It is impossible for us to engage in such behavior as besieging Wudang. A group of experts were chattering and making a fuss, begging for mercy. Ye Ran didn't speak, just a smile rose from the corner of his mouth. Each person has 100 taels of gold. If you pay, you can leave. If you don't pay, you'll end up wasting your martial arts skills. This. A group of experts were puzzled. Some people pulled out 100 taels of silver vouchers on the spot, while others hesitated and couldn't get the money. Without hesitation, Ye Ran directly abolished their martial arts. More than 200 martial arts masters, of which 160 paid to redeem themselves, and the rest were all stripped of their martial arts skills. After the siege of Wudang Mountain ended, the world was shocked. Ye Ran of Wudang Mountain has been in seclusion for 60 years and has not died. His cultivation has reached the level of a heavenly being. He is like a land deity. Land Immortals, old monsters. Countless sects quickly ran to Wudang and began to show goodwill. In the martial arts world, it is difficult to find a Land Immortal for 1,000 years. And once he leaves, he will definitely be the supreme martial arts master, dominating the world. If this Land Immortal appeared in the imperial court, then the imperial court would be absolutely domineering and push everything forward. And if it appears within a sect, this sect is the absolute #1 sect in the world, and no one will doubt it. For example, Shaolin, Shaoyao, Chuanjin, Beggar's Sect are all sects that have emerged as Land Immortals, which is why they have been strong for 100 years and have ruled for a lifetime. And now the largest commodity in the world is going to become Wudang. In the depths of the Shaolin Sutra Pavilion, a sweeping monk heard a monk talking about the newly emerged land deity Ye ran in Wudang, and a wave appeared in his eyes. A new land deity has emerged, and the martial arts world is always so exciting. The sweeping monk smiled, then shook his body and was slightly startled in space. He took a step of 10 meters and left the scripture pavilion. The monk who was just talking rubbed his eyes and looked at the position where the sweeping monk had just stood. When did the old monk leave? He was here just now. The talking monk was puzzled. The imperial palace of the Ming dynasty. An old eunuch wearing a red background and black robe looked nervously in the direction of Wudang Mountain. The newly appointed Land Immortals are really involved, it's too much. Regarding national luck, we need to report it to the emperor as soon as possible. The old eunuch had a ghostly figure, with no feet touching the ground, and his figure was also very blurry. The imperial palace of the Yuan dynasty. A burly llama with a golden wheel on his back was muffled in a muffled voice. Wudang Ye ran, a Land Immortal, is too strong to offend. The person sitting on the imperial chair anxiously asked, Master Jinluan, what should we do? Appoint Wudang as the national sect and appoint Ye ran as the national teacher, said King Jinluan after thinking for a moment. Guizhong and Guisher. Is this okay? Let's give it a try. Wudang is located on the border between our Yuan and Ming dynasties, and theoretically falls under our jurisdiction. It has the right to be granted the title of national ancestor. The Golden Will Dharma King is very calm. Okay, how about the esoteric school of the national teacher? If Wudang accepts it, my esoteric sect will abdicate to the position of the national sect, and I will no longer be the national teacher. The Golden Will Dharma King was very decisive. The person on the imperial chair hesitated for a moment and finally nodded, that's it. The world where Ye ran is located is complex and intertwined in power, but according to the imperial dynasty, it can be roughly divided into major regions such as Song, Ming, Yuan, Qing. Among these regions, there are countless martial arts sects and experts. The imperial court and secular sects are either hostile, complementary, or unrelated to each other. The geographical location of Wudang Sect is at the junction of Ming and Yuan dynasties, and it also has some border ties with Song. However, its location is actually not good, and it is easy to become the target of attack and control by countless forces. But now with the emergence of a Land Immortal Ye ran, everything is different. This place has now become a holy land. Wulin Holy Land. Just the emergence of a Land Immortal can attract countless martial artists and dynasties to admire. One sword moves mountains, fills the sea, divides the river, cuts off the flow, and annihilates 100,000 soldiers. This is the power of the land gods. Has become like a deity, not among mortals. In Wudang Mountain. In the Zhenwu Hall. Zhang Sanfeng looked at Ye ran with a curious expression on his face. Senior brother, why don't you look old? Even the health preservation techniques I invented can only maintain qi and blood, live longer, and cannot maintain your appearance. Because you're senior brother, I have refined a furnace of calming pills, and after eating them, my appearance will not age, Ye ran said partially truthfully. How could there be such a divine pill in this world? Senior brother, don't deceive me. Zhang Sanfeng looked incredulous. That's because your senior brother has achieved great martial arts, returned to simplicity and improved his appearance. Ye ran began to lie. This is somewhat possible, Zhang Sanfeng agreed with a look on his face. Yi Ran is speechless. He was indeed able to maintain his physical condition at the age of 20 because he had taken a calming pill. This pill is a system gift, only this one. Senior brother, how will those envoys outside handle it? Which one will be chosen as the national sect? Zhang Sanfeng asked. No one chooses, be a fool, Guozong. What's the use of this thing? Can it be eaten? Yi Ran shook his head slightly and said, they all want to use my name to recruit the power of the world. We won't give him this opportunity. Zhang Sanfeng nodded and said, that's good. Chapter 6. Flying with Sword and Fairy Appearance, New Book. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the Zhenwu Hall. Zhang Cuishan and Yin Susu held Zhang Wuji and knelt before Yi Ran. Please save my family, Master Wuji. In return, I am willing to defend Wudang forever and never go down the mountain. Zhang Cuishan pleaded with his gaze and spoke firmly. Zhang Wuji was previously hit by the Xuanming divine palm of the second elder Xuanming, and now his body is extremely cold. No matter how much he heats up the fire, it is useless to cover the blanket. Yi Ran glanced at Zhang Wuji and nodded, it's not difficult to save Wuji. You don't need me to take action, Junior Brother Sanfeng can save him. On one side, Zhang Sanfeng was stunned and said, Senior Brother, do you think I can save Wuji? Use your the 9-yang manual, Yi Ran said casually. Zhang Sanfeng suddenly realized, it's feasible to use extreme yang to relieve cold yin. Zhang Cuishan and his wife had tears in their eyes and were extremely excited. Thank you very much, Master. More masters. Yi Ran nodded, didn't say much, just stared at Yin Susu and slowly spoke. Do you have anything to say? Yin Susu hesitated a bit and looked at the Wudang disciples before nodding heavily in the end. Su is guilty. Zhang Sanfeng was puzzled and said, what crime is there? The 7 heroes of Wudang also had a strange expression on their face. The previous siege of Wudang by other sects should not be attributed to you. Don't mind. Yin Susu shook her head and said, it's not this matter. Yi Ran remained silent for a long time, looked at Zhang Cuishan on the side, and finally said, all right, you've already admitted your mistake, there's no need to say anything more. Yin Susu's fault was not the previous sect siege of Wudang, but rather her use of hidden weapons to ambush Yin Lighting, one of the 7 heroes of Wudang, which ultimately led to him being attacked and becoming disabled. Yin Lighting, the 7 heroes of Wudang, has the most outstanding foundation and talent among Wudang disciples. However, he ultimately ended up being a useless person, which is truly regrettable. Yi Ran stopped Yin Susu from telling the story of the past, in order to prevent Zhang Cuishan and his wife from harboring resentment. After all, the two of them have already become married, and the past has been a fleeting moment, drifting away with the wind. Yin Susu looked at Yi Ran, then at Zhang Cuishan and gratefully said to Yi Ran, thank you, Master. Others were confused, but when Yi Ran didn't want to say anything, everyone didn't dare to ask. Junior brother, do you have a disciple with limbs disabled? Yi Ran looked at Zhang Sanfeng. There is indeed one, Yin Lighting, my 3rd disciple who has been passed down personally. He has excellent talent, but unfortunately, his fate has been affected and he has become like this, Zhang Sanfeng said with some sadness. The other Wudang's 7 heroes also lowered their heads and remained silent, with a worried expression on their faces. When I was secluded in the back mountain, I already knew that I had a solution to this matter, Yi Ran smiled. Senior brother really has a way. Zhang Sanfeng was surprised. There are rumors in the martial arts world that the black jade intermittent cream of the Yuan dynasty has a miraculous effect of bone healing. I will go and get it, Yi Ran waved his sleeve robe with a domineering and powerful tone. Senior brother, I'll go with you. Zhang Sanfeng said. Although the martial arts forces of the Yuan dynasty were relatively weak, their military strength was top-notch. Even if Yi Ran was a Land Immortal, there might still be some danger. Not bad, Master, we'll go with you as Wudang disciples. Song Yuanxiao and the crowd were excited. Yi Ran waved his hand and chuckled lightly, no need, I can do it alone. After he finished speaking, his figure flickered and he left the Zhenwu Hall. The Wudang crowd quickly walked out of the main hall, and as soon as they looked up, they saw a flying sword soaring in the air, while Yi Ran stood steadily on top of the flying sword, soaring in the wind and floating like a fairy. Zhang Sanfeng and others were stunned and forgot their words for a long time. After a long time, Zhang Sanfeng let out a long sigh and said, Senior Brother is no different from the members of the immortal family. And Wudang disciples stared tightly at the sky, their eyes burning and burning. This is their true immortal in Wudang. They are also very likely to learn such immortal methods in the future. Joining Wudang is definitely the most correct decision in their lifetime. In mid-air, Yi Ran stepped on the flying sword, his clothes fluttering like a divine being. The sword under his feet was not a real flying sword, but an ordinary refined steel sword. The condition is ordinary, and there is even a slight gap on the blade. The reason why this sword can fly freely is due to the simple formations engraved on it by Yi Ran. Now this sword is flying and walking, there's no problem. If you want to dance the sword and kill someone, it's very difficult. The flying sword was flying rapidly in mid-air, following Yi Ran's will and advancing straight towards the capital of the Yuan dynasty. On the ground, someone accidentally looked up at the sky, widened their eyes, opened their mouth wide, and then vigorously rubbed their eyes, unable to believe it. Gods! Immortals! An exclamation of surprise attracted countless people to look up at the sky, and instantly countless people watched. 1,000 people looked up at the sky, gasping for breath. Fairy, I have seen a fairy. Tai Shang Lao Jun, the Jade Emperor, has offended and disrespected Taoism many times before. It is truly a sin, a sin. In the hearts of countless people, awe and fear rose. Although the figure on the flying sword was not very clear in appearance, it was certain that it was a member of the Taoist family. For a while, among ordinary people, Taoist temples began to rise, and countless people believed in them because they had already seen true immortals and were naturally willing to believe. Yi Ran flew in the air for about 4 to 5 hours and had already arrived at the capital of the Yuan dynasty. Yuandu. Yi Ran collected his sword and entered the city, heading straight towards the Ruyang prince's mansion. Bang! With a slight movement of Yi Ran's energy, the large red painted door of the Ruyang prince's mansion crumbled into powder and dissipated clean. Chapter 7. Black Jade Spirit Grass, Destroying the City with One Finger in New Book. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Ruyang prince's mansion. Countless people heard the sound of explosions at the door. Someone immediately roared in the courtyard, who dares to disturb my Ruyang prince's mansion? Yi Ran slowly stepped into the palace and said calmly, Wudang Yi Ran. The roaring person, like someone pinching their neck, suddenly stopped roaring, wilting and speechless. The martial arts masters who originally came from all directions also dared not show their faces. The 4 words, Wudang Yi Ran, are like a thunderbolt that raises fear in people's hearts. In less than a minute, a middle-aged man dressed in golden attire came out of the courtyard of the Ruyang prince's mansion. He is the king of Ruyang, a powerful prince in the Yuan dynasty. Yi Zhenren has come from a long distance. It's an honor for me to be in the Ruyang prince's mansion. Please come in and let me have a good reception. Yi Ran's face remained calm and silent. Yi Zhenren, please come to the inner palace. I have long admired Yi Zhenren's reputation and have long intended to be close. The king of Ruyang had a smile on his face, but his heart suddenly hung and a cold sweat broke out. This is a land immortal, capable of destroying cities and moving mountains with just one sword, almost a divine figure. I came here for the black jade intermittent cream, you see. Yi Ran didn't finish speaking, but the meaning was already very clear. Understood. 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 Someone, bring the black jade intermittent cream to Yi Zhenren. Without saying a word, King Ruyang took out the item that Yi Ran wanted. Speaking of which, it was the people in your Ruyang prince's mansion who injured my nephew back then. Why don't you hand over the people and I'll let your prince's mansion go? Yi Ran smiled slightly. King Ruyang smiled bitterly and quickly explained, nothing. Yi Zhenren, you have definitely listened to the slander of villains. I, the king of Ruyang, love Taoism the most in my life. How could anyone in my mansion harm Wudang disciples? Yi Ran remained non-committal, took the black jade intermittent cream, weighed it twice, and upon smelling it, his face looked a bit strange. Black jade spirit grass. Waste. The Taoist scripture practiced by Yi Ran records countless well-known spiritual roots and flowers in the cultivation world. During his seclusion time, besides practicing, he also reads the spiritual root information recorded in the scriptures, so he is very familiar with famous herbs and immortal flowers. Black jade spirit grass. This thing is extremely rare even in the real cultivation world. How could these people just use this kind of fairy grass to refine into ointment? Connect the broken bone. Sending celestial objects recklessly is a great waste. If given to Yi Ran, black jade spirit grass can be directly refined into black jade divine pill, which is strong in tendons and bones, and can ascend to build a foundation. In terms of martial arts' internal power, it can increase the power of 2 armor pieces. 120 years. One Dan can directly become the supreme martial arts master and the #1 in the world. Where did you obtain the herbs refined with this ointment? Yi Ran asked the king of Ruyang. If the real person agrees to let go of our royal mansion, I will inform you, said King Ruyang with a small calculation. Yi Ran squinted his eyes, then raised his hand slightly and pointed to the courtyard of the Wang mansion. With a bang. The walls, tiles, towers, water pavilions, and blue stone floors of the Ruyang prince's mansion, which occupies the entire Chaoyuan street, have turned into ashes and powder. In the Yuandu palace, the lama carrying the golden wheel frowned fiercely, and his feet immediately retracted as he was about to leave the palace. Forget it, everything has a cause and effect, so I won't interfere in the affairs of the Ruyang prince's mansion. The Golden Will Dharma king felt the boundless power, which was incredibly powerful and terrifying. For him, it was like a towering mountain, gazing and sighing. Who dares to stop Yi Ran? On the ruins of the Ruyang prince's mansion, everyone was dumbfounded and looked at Yi Ran as if he were a deity. Really? The black jade grass that the real person wants. Outside the Yuandu cliff, I will personally take the real person there. The Ruyang king was in a fierce battle, with a faint yellow liquid flowing out from below, looking unbearable, but no one dared to laugh at him. Who is different? In the face of the astonishing power of raising hands to destroy the city, the one who can remain calm and composed must be a dead person. Don't worry, I'll take care of it first. Who are the ones who hurt my nephew? Please step forward and speak. Yi Ran's eyes scanned the experts in the Ruyang prince's mansion. Everyone lowered their heads, trembling like little wilted chicks. Not to mention it, that's fine. I'll let you go while I cultivate myself. Yi Ran shook his sleeves generously, as if he was about to turn around and leave. The people in the martial arts world of Ruyang prince's mansion, who were bowing their heads, breathed a sigh of relief. A few monks wearing robes were even more relieved, looking up at Yi Ran's back with resentment in their eyes. Brush. A snow-white flying sword flew over with lightning, swiftly slicing off the heads of several monk robes. Why? The monk in the robe didn't understand how Yi Ran knew they were the culprits. King Ruyang widened his eyes and looked at the flying sword passing by, somewhat lost in thought. Then he stood dumbfounded, completely incredulous. Fei Jian. Someone stuttered as they spoke. Immortal. Legend has it that the immortal family's method of flying with swords and taking human heads from 100 miles away appeared in front of them. Is this a land deity? This is a true immortal, isn't it? The king of Ruyang originally intended to guide Yi Ran to the military camp of the Yuan dynasty and design an ambush, but now he no longer dares. He really wanted to bring this true immortal to the encirclement. He didn't know if Yi Ran would die, but he was determined to die. The immortal flying sword could kill him in an instant. Let's go, lead the way. Yi Ran withdrew his sword and said to King Ruyang. Hey, okay, I'll lead the way. This way, Yi Zhenren. Ruyang Wang wiped his cold sweat and walked ahead to lead the way. Chapter 8. Sword Chi Breaks Thunder, New Book Seeks Everything. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Outside Yuandu City. A large number of people and horses rolled up in the wind and sand, quickly chasing after Yi Ran on the flying sword ahead. Ruyang King, you said. Is black jade grass really on the cliff of Yuandu? The emperor of the Yuan dynasty rode on a horse, bumpy and tired, with some unclear speech. Your Majesty, rest assured that what I said is absolutely true. King Ruyang nodded fiercely. Well, not bad. It would be worth it if you could use black jade grass to gain the favor of Yi Xianren. Black jade intermittent cream is indeed the supreme elixir, which can connect bones, heal injuries, and repair meridians. But it's not as good as a land. The favor of a true immortal. Perhaps after obtaining the black jade grass, Yi Ran's liking for the Yuan dynasty greatly increased and he directly became a national teacher. Then he, the Yuan, cannot sweep across all the countries and accomplish the great cause of unification. The emperor of the Yuan dynasty couldn't help but burst out laughing at this, as if he were mentally disabled. On the flying sword in mid-air, a little lowly under 10 years old tightly grabbed Ye's arm, her face pale, and her legs weak. This is Zhao Min, the hostage voluntarily handed over to Yi Ran by King Ruyang. At this time, Zhao Min was still just a 7 or 8-year-old lowly, with a cute and delicate face, dressed in a white dress with a touch of luxury and a touch of ghostly spirit. After witnessing Yi Ran's immortal family's methods, the king of Ruyang was truly afraid. He was afraid that Yi Ran would not believe him, so he subsequently killed him. Therefore, he directly threw his little daughter as a hostage to Yi Ran. How far is it? Yi Ran asked Xiao Min. Just right ahead. Xiao Min was a bit blinded by the wind, but could still barely recognize the direction. 10 minutes later, Yi Ran saw the cliff that Xiao Min had mentioned. There are indeed several dark and ink-like spiritual grasses on the outer wall of the cliff, and one of them has the best condition. The tip of the grass has already had a few different colors, which is a symbol of approaching advancement. Rare. It takes at least 10,000 years for the black jade spirit grass to change and meet the conditions for advancement in places with deep spiritual energy. Yi Ran didn't expect to see a nearly advanced black jade spirit grass here. Xiao Min was stunned when she heard Yi Ran speak. She suddenly forgot her previously fearful mind of flying in the sky. That black grass has lived for 10,000 years. How did Yi Ran know? Isn't this guy also an old monster who has lived for thousands of years? Thinking of this, Zhao Min connected Yi Ran with the monster stories she had heard before, and was so scared that she cried uncontrollably. No, don't eat me. I'm very well behaved and never sneaks. Zhao Min is only 7 or 8 years old now, far from the arrogant and ghostly Zhao princess she was when she grew up. To put it simply, she is now a bit smarter than an ordinary child. Yi Ran was confused and lowered his flying sword, falling 100 miles off the cliff. He gently threw little Zhao Min onto the grass and headed straight towards the cliff. On the edge of the cliff, Yi Ran looked at the several black jade grasses by the cliff with burning eyes, and was overjoyed. The difficulty of cultivating immortals in this low martial world is unimaginable. Yi Ran is considered extremely talented, but it took a full 60 years to cross the Golden Elixir realm. If he had natural resources and treasures, as well as the spiritual medicine of heaven and earth, he would definitely not have practiced so hard. Baby, baby. Yi Ran laughed contentedly. Cliff sky. 1,000 dark clouds began to gather, and thunder flickered. The most brilliant black jade spirit grass on the cliff had its spiritual energy fluctuating, and its brilliance began to spread. This spiritual grass is about to advance, causing a great change in heaven and earth. With thunder descending, it is about to cross the advanced tribulation. In the sky, thunder and lightning roar, and silver-white thunder surges like a dragon, constantly twisting and deforming. Heaven and earth shake, trees shake and sway, and the strong wind dances wildly. Xuanming Er stood 100 meters away, his eyes glazed, his hands grabbing wildly, and he was very scared. His eyes were crystal clear, and he was about to burst into tears. Mother! Mother, I'm afraid. The emperor of the Yuan dynasty and the king of Ruyang had also arrived at the edge of the cliff. They looked up at the sky and their faces suddenly changed. It's thunderclouds, there's a big thunderstorm about to fall. Find a place to hide. The emperor of the Yuan dynasty exclaimed softly, afraid to speak up. Encountering thunderstorms in this open wilderness is the most dangerous thing. A small lightning bolt can chop a person into coke. Min Min. King Ruyang couldn't help but shout as he looked at Zhao Min sitting on the grass in a daze. Bang! A small lightning bolt directly struck the side of King Ruyang, causing a several-meter large pit and splashing mud and grass. The horses were all startled, roaring one after another, their bodies swaying, and their legs moving wildly. The emperor of the Yuan dynasty and others finally managed to subdue the horses, and by this time, the shocking thunder had already fallen with a loud bang. On the edge of the cliff, the thick and thin thunder path of the bucket fell straight towards the black jade fairy grass. Yi Ran doesn't feel good. If this lightning falls on the black jade immortal grass, the grass will definitely be finished. If it were in the world of cultivation, it would be fine. The black jade immortal grass itself has the ability to fight back against this kind of thunder calamity. And this is the world of martial arts, where black jade fairy grass only has efficacy and no self-protection power. If this lightning falls, then this grass will be useless, so useless that it will die. Thinking of this, Yi Ran is ready to take action. The flying sword from the waist spins, and the refined steel sword wraps around the fingers gently, like a dazzling butterfly, dancing continuously. Thunder surged in the sky, and the wind and clouds changed, stirring up fragments of grass and trees. Yi Ran stood on the edge of the cliff, his expression unchanged, dressed in hunting clothes, and his white robe stirring. Flying sword. The dazzling and cold light of the 100 refined steel sword immediately flew into Yi Ran's hand. Then 100 Zhang sword chi was swung out by Yi Ran, pointing straight at Lei Yun. The sword energy collided with the lightning that struck, scattering it like a knife cutting tofu. Without any hesitation, he scattered the thunder sword chi and charged straight towards higher ground. Chapter 9. 5-Colored Immortal Grass, Apprentice New Book Seeks 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The 100 Zhang sword energy suddenly collided with 1,000 thunderclouds, with exceptional sharpness, quickly cutting the thunderclouds in half. Although Yi Ran did not follow the path of a true sword immortal, he still wielded his sword with invincibility. Splitting the river and cutting off the flow, blocking the clouds, is no problem. The dark clouds in the sky broke through a huge hole, and endless sunlight shone down on Yi Ran and black jade fairy grass. The black jade fairy grass began to change, and its originally ink-like body began to take on countless colors, colorful and beautiful. This grass has successfully advanced and has become a 5-colored spirit grass. If Moyu spirit grass is of some use to Yi Ran, then 5-colored spirit grass is of great use to Yi Ran. It can directly enhance the strength of the leaf Ran golden pill, and then engrave a mysterious illusion on its surface. This is a divine herb that no one in the world of cultivation can imagine. Ye Ran waved his immortal sword and directly picked off the 5-colored immortal grass and black jade immortal grass, then put them away. Outside the Yuandu cliff. Xiao Min stopped crying and shouting, her sparkling eyes reflecting Ye Ran's unparalleled demeanor. White clothes fluttering, sleeves hunting, crown hanging high, sword pointing into the sky, suddenly like a divine being. Such a person should not be an eternal monster, but definitely a deity descending from heaven to earth. In an instant, Xiao Min's fear of Ye Ran disappeared completely, and instead a strong sense of closeness emerged. She climbed up from the grass and walked towards Ye Ran in a swaying manner. And further away, the emperor of the Yuan dynasty and others were stunned, like wooden chickens. After a long time, these people came to their senses and stared blankly at Ye Ran on the edge of the cliff. True immortal. Eternal heaven is above, and Ye Zhenren is definitely a true immortal. At this moment, the emperor of the Yuan dynasty almost wanted to fall to the ground and kneel before Ye Ran. In the team, the Golden Will Dharma king, who casually guarded the emperor of the Yuan dynasty, remained silent. Is the land deity really so powerful? The Golden Will Dharma king was somewhat skeptical. He didn't believe that a land deity could split a thundercloud in half. This Ye Ran is mostly not a land deity, but has already crossed the word land and reached the true mystery between heaven and earth. Is it only by joining the Taoist school that one can truly transcend? The Golden Will Dharma king looked at Ye Ran's almost immortal posture, and some of his beliefs collapsed. On the edge of the cliff, Ye Ran picked the fairy grass and was about to fly away with a sword, but encountered a slight resistance. A pair of fleshy little hands, tightly gripping the legs of the pants, and big eyes sparkling brightly. Immortal Lord, will you accept me as your disciple? I am very well behaved and will definitely listen carefully. Xiao Min smiled happily, not afraid at all, and her courage began to grow. Since I was young, others have said that I am very smart. If you take me as your disciple, you will definitely not be at a disadvantage. Besides, my father is the king of Ruyang in the Yuan dynasty, and he has a lot of money. If you take me as your disciple, I will ask my father to help you build a great Taoist temple, which is shining brightly and incredibly brilliant. Xiao Min has already begun to show some superficial wisdom, understanding how to use her own power to tempt. However, Ye Ran didn't even care about the conditions she mentioned. Not far away, the emperor of the Yuan dynasty and the king of Ruyang were already approaching. When they heard that Xiao Min had taken the initiative to Apprentice, their eyes lit up. King Ruyang, your daughter is truly intelligent. Let's call her a princess in the future. The emperor of the Yuan dynasty smiled and said to King Ruyang. Thank you very much, your majesty, said King Ruyang with joy in his heart. Min will definitely become a princess in the future, which is certain, but if she can become a princess, it is a great appreciation from the emperor of the Yuan dynasty and an excellent thing. The Golden Will Dharma king on one side also looked forward to Ye Ran's answer. Princess Minmin's ability to worship under Ye Ran's sect is definitely a great blessing, and this blessing can even illuminate the entire Yuan dynasty. Maintain the strength of the Yuan dynasty for at least 200 years. On the edge of the cliff. Ye Ran looked at Zhao Min and reached out to touch the little girl's head. Then, with a smile, he said, I won't accept it. Zhao Min was stunned, her face full of disbelief. Why? Why? I'm not stupid, I'm smart, and I'm also super brave. Super big, I can sleep alone. Ye Ran laughed heartily and said, then go worship someone else. Anyway, I don't want to accept it. Xiao Min lost her expression with her big eyes and drooped her small eyebrows. As soon as her expression froze, she was ready to burst into tears. Ye Ran's eyebrows twitched, feeling uneasy, and he immediately spoke up. You should first join Wudang and become a named disciple. I'm wandering around and don't have time to teach. Xiaomin immediately stopped her crying expression and turned to a silly smile, with a hint of ghostly spirit in her eyes. "Thank you, master." Xiaomin stood up, holding Yi Ran's long-sleeved robe with her bare hands, full of flattery. Yi Ran has not had much contact with children from his past life to this life, let alone a little ghost like Xiaomin. He directly picked up Xiaomin's clothes at the back collar and returned him to the king of Ruyang, then flew away with his sword. Xiaomin was in the arms of King Ruyang, her big eyes flickering, staring without blinking at Yi Ran's figure walking with a sword in the sky. In the sky, flying high into the air, heading straight towards Wudang Mountain. This trip, Yi Ran gained a lot, not only the divine medicine Black Jade Intermittent Cream, but also the extremely rare Black Jade Spirit Grass and 5-colored Immortal Grass. Not bad, quite good. Yi Ran squinted his eyes and smiled brightly. Chapter 10. The Heavenly God Slashes the Cloud of Robbery, New Book Seeks Everything. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. On Wudang Mountain. Zhang Sanfeng and others are anxiously waiting for Yi Ran to return, fearing that he will not be pursued by thousands of troops. No matter how strong one's martial arts are, even in the face of a team or an organized army, they always have to suffer losses. Previously, there was a case where a master expert infiltrated the Ming Palace in an attempt to steal the treasures of the Imperial Palace, but was killed by countless forbidden army formations. Although Yi Ran is powerful and has become a legendary land deity, there are also some concerns in everyone's hearts. Master has returned. Song Yuanxiao looked up at the sky and saw the figure of Yi Ran, who was almost a small white dot in the sky. Let's go out and take a look. Zhang Sanfeng ran out and led a group of disciples to Zhenwu Square. Shoo! The sound of breaking through the air approached, and Yi Ran, dressed in white and pure clothes, with a fairy-like face, quickly appeared in front of everyone. The flying sword carried Yi Ran and stopped steadily on the Zhenwu Square. Yi Ran lightly jumped down. Is there any danger during this trip, senior brother? Zhang Sanfeng observed Yi Ranjia's white sleeve and did not find any signs of damage. There is no danger, Yi Ran replied. With my current state, even if 1,000,000 troops come to attack, I can retreat completely. It's an exaggeration to say that Yi Ran can now confront 1,000,000-strong army, but running away is definitely not a problem. Even running away in front of them, with a flying sword in hand, who can stop Yi Ran? This is Black Jade Intermittent Cream. Connect the broken bones to my nephew, and then I will help him straighten his meridians and practice martial arts again. The 7 heroes of Wudang were extremely grateful to Yi Ran and solemnly took the Black Jade Intermittent Cream. Third brother has been saved. After bone grafting, he will practice martial arts again, and his strength will surely improve greatly. Our senior brothers, 7 of us, can once again regain our former chivalrous reputation. Song Yuanxiao and others looked excited and rushed to the residence of Yin Lighting. Yi Ran smiled, turned around and stepped onto the flying sword, saying to Zhang Sanfeng that he wanted to shut down. Senior brother, are you going to seclusion again? Zhang Sanfeng was startled. Last time I was locked down for 60 years, but now I'm back. When Yi Ran leaves the level again, perhaps he has already taken away the Immortals. It's just a small retreat, there's no need to be nervous, Yi Ran chuckled. Oh, Xie Shuiguan, it's because junior brother overthought it. Zhang Sanfeng smiled awkwardly. Yi Ran wielded his flying sword and headed towards the back mountain. Back mountain stone chamber. Yi Ran waved his hand and restored the stone chamber he had destroyed before, then walked in and closed the stone gate. With legs crossed, Yi Ran took out the black jade spirit grass and the 5-colored immortal grass on the xianxia of Wudao. With a little effort, the genuine qi will directly crush the spiritual root in front of you into the purest essence. Yi Ranyun turns to the Xianjing, and directly devours all the spiritual root essence in front of him. After a week's operation, the essence was directly sent to the elixir by Yi. A small golden pill is floating in it, and you can see the pure essence as if you met a peerless beauty. However, in a moment, the golden pill absorbed most of the essence, its appearance became brighter and its body shape began to grow slightly. Originally only the size of a soybean, it is now half the size of a nail cap. On the surface of the golden pill, a strange phenomenon has begun to emerge. A rich and handsome heavenly god began to be outlined, and then boundless black clouds and thunder also appeared. The heavenly god wielded his sword and struck with great force, causing the sky and clouds to split in half. The earth shone brightly, and all things revived. The heavenly god breaks the calamity cloud. Ye Ran looked at the new appearance of his golden pill and was extremely happy. Even in the top-level cultivation world, this illusion is also considered top-notch. If there are cultivators who can condense this illusion on the golden core, there is hope for the immortal king in the future. Ye Ran looked back at other illusions on his golden pill. 9 heavenly immortal kings, 10,000 green lotus, boundless waves, each one is a golden pill illusion that cultivators have been dreaming of. And there are already 5 such visions in Ye Ran. The Dao Xian Jing truly deserves to be the innate cultivation method of the system. As the saying goes, if a system produces, it must be a masterpiece. A towering vision has already appeared over Wudang. A heavenly god wielded his sword and cut through the clouds of calamity. The visuals are illusory and not realistic, but they can truly convey a strong sense of courage. In the Zhenwu Hall, Zhang Sanfeng was startled and looked up at the sky, his heart pounding wildly. Sanqing is at the top, isn't Senior Brother really going to become an immortal? Surrounding Wudang Mountain. After the world learned that Wudang Ye Ran had become a land immortal, more and more people are starting to migrate here. Since there is a land deity in Wudang Mountain, it will be a pure land for at least 200 years, and no one dares to invade. People living in this world just want to demand a peaceful life. When the scene of the heavenly god slaying the clouds in the sky unfolded, the people working in the fields suddenly felt a strange feeling and looked up. Just one glance almost scared me out of my wits. The heavenly gods and calamity clouds in the sky are illusory, but their majesty does not seem false. That's Ye Zhenren from Wudang. Someone vaguely saw the appearance of the white-robed celestial god in the sky vision, and then was greatly surprised. Ye Zhenren has become an immortal and transformed into a god. The common people threw down their agricultural tools and knelt down in the direction of Wudang Mountain. Now they are even more grateful for their choice. Migrating to the foot of Wudang Mountain is the right one. There are real immortals here. Many young people in the fields, wearing grass shoes, stared straight at the illusory celestial god in the sky. I want to join Wudang. At the foot of Wudang Mountain, most of the young girls have the same thoughts at this moment.